It is National Inclusion Week, and I'm joined by one of our customers, Rapport Guest Services, to talk about the topic of diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Rapport Guest Services provide corporate organisations with fully managed front and back of house services, including reception, concierge and help desk support. They've received many awards for their focus on employee engagement and have been publicly recognised for their approach to driving the diversity and inclusivity agenda in the workplace. I'm joined today by Abbam, Diversity and Inclusion Business Partner at Rapport. Thanks for joining me today, Emily. First of all, let's start, if you just tell me a little bit about your role and what your current responsibilities are.
Absolutely, Bianca. So first, hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be having this chat today about diversity and inclusion. So thank you so much. And thank you for your wonderful intro about Rapport. My role is Diversity and Inclusion Business Partner. So I'm responsible for the delivery of Rapport's diversity and inclusion strategy. So I work incredibly closely with our teams, both frontline, our leadership, to really implement our D&I programs and initiatives, as well as looking at how we can really share best practice. And also a big part of my role is also measuring that impact of what we do. So I guess to really encompass all of that, I like to say I'm kind of helping people to ensure that they can show up to work and bring their whole selves to work. That's kind of how I like to sum it up.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's great. It's an interesting role.
Definitely. And of course, you'll know, I've been with Rapport just over 2 years. So prior to that, I was learning an engagement business partner. So I'm really able to kind of take all that I've learnt in that role and kind of transfer it across to this new role as diversity and inclusion business partner. So very exciting.
Oh, thank you. And Rapport are doing quite a lot in terms of raising awareness and educating the teams in this area. Why is the topic of diversity and inclusion so important at Rapport?
Absolutely. So Rapport does do so much around raising awareness, and education really is at the heart of much that we do. I guess we believe that D&I is everyone's business. It's not just mine, our leaders. It's really kind of how we approach it. And a diverse workforce, as many of us will know, brings with it so many different benefits. For example, diversity of thought, having people in a room from different backgrounds, different walks of life working together. And that can really ensure that we're viewing things from different perspectives and coming up with the best and most innovative ideas to really drive the business forward and to make sure that we're being inclusive. So that's a big benefit there. We're also really committed to ensuring we're fostering an inclusive environment, which again is going to encourage that innovation, that creativity, and support our teams to really reach their potential. And this links to our core values, our Rapport core values. So we've got Be Brilliant, Create Rapport, Innovative Spirit, Walk Tall and Stronger Together. And a diverse workforce and an inclusive environment will support our teams to demonstrate those values in everything that they do, whether that's in their personal life, in their professional life at work. And I guess this really does sum up why we continue to do so much in this area.
Yeah. That's really great how you've got the kind of values really woven in and embedded throughout that as well.
Absolutely.
So can you share a little bit on your kind of, what does an inclusive workplace look and feel like to you? What's the ultimate goal? What is your vision of what you're trying to create?
So I think you can really understand whether a workplace is truly inclusive if you look around and you're seeing happy, smiley, obviously genuinely happy and smiley team members. You walk into a work environment, into an office, and everyone is welcoming you, smiling. They look comfortable. They look relaxed. They just seem comfortable to bring their whole selves to work. And at Rapport, we want our ambassadors to feel completely empowered to do anything to delight their guests and to really go the extra mile. And we do this well because it is genuine. We're really empowering our teams to do so. And we know that it's really important that our teams feel comfortable and in a safe environment. And I really do believe that's what we foster with regards to our vision and the way we roll out our D&I initiatives. And this really is our goal. And we work incredibly hard, as I say, through leadership, right through to the front line. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is our Be Yourself at Rapport networks. So our employee resource groups, or our networks, really provide opportunities for our teams to come together, to support each other, and actually to be really good allies. So this idea of learning about other people's differences, or learning about another community or a more marginalised part of the community is also important. So we can share those ideas and really learn from each other. And our teams understand the importance of this, that we come together and hear lived experiences that we may not have experienced ourselves. And hear people's challenges, and through that we can really support each other, help provide a voice for other people, and ensure that everyone is really treated equally. So that's a big focus for us at Rapport.
Yeah, it's interesting that you touched on safety, creating a kind of safe place at work, because I think it's something that can often get overlooked. You know, we've got so many priorities. Safety is usually health and safety, but actually emotional safety in the workplace is one of the things that really encourages us to bring our best to work. So it's interesting you touched on that.
Definitely.
What are some of the barriers, do you think, to achieving that vision, or what are some of the key challenges you think we're facing around this?
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of already touched on that in terms of barriers. I guess maybe in a few years ago, diversity and inclusion or well-being wasn't so high on the agenda. People didn't necessarily understand the direct correlation between business success and ensuring our workplaces are truly inclusive. So I think that certainly has been a barrier, you know, changing those mindsets, educating people, understanding those links, looking at those real hard statistics that back up all the fantastic things that D&I brings with it. It's not just a nice to have, it's not the fluffy stuff. It actually serves a purpose. There is an impact. So I think that's probably a big barrier, certainly for organisations that are starting their journey within D&I. And also this idea of I guess, judgments or preconceived ideas, unconscious bias. I'm chair of our race and ethnicity network, Embrace You, and we started this in the summer of last year. And actually it was incredibly new. You know, some of the conversations that we were having were a little bit uncomfortable, just because we'd never open that door, so to speak. We've never provided that safe space to have those types of conversations. Yeah. So again, that could potentially be a barrier to some organisations to say, well, actually, I don't have the expertise. I don't know much about that. So therefore, I'm not going to go there. And it's actually about just stepping outside of our comfort zones, having someone to really champion certain areas of D&I and make it that priority. So I would say that's definitely still a barrier. I think we're getting there. You can see that there's a real change, you can feel it, and hopefully that continues. But it can be uncomfortable for some people.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right. It is quite a challenge. I mean, changing mindsets, stepping out of your comfort zone. Yeah. It's not always what you first think of. You're trying to kind of explore at work with colleagues. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely something that is rewarding, actually. Yeah. It's really rewarding in the workplace to have those conversations. Not everyone's comfortable, not everyone knows everything, but just to kind of share those experiences together, it's quite something that's really nice to bond with.
It is. And that's what really bolsters the culture of an organisation. It's incredibly refreshing when you get a group of people together with that kind of mindset, that they just want to be open and willing to learn, obviously respectful, coming from that right place, but just wanting to learn more about something that they may not know, may not have experienced personally, but actually they just want to be or become a really good ally for a different part of the community. So yeah, I think there's so many benefits in that area to really bolstering that culture.
Okay, and then I guess, so for organisations who are participating in National Inclusion Week, who might be a bit nervous about some of these challenges, what would you say are the business advantages of getting through some of those challenges and creating a more inclusive and diverse workplace?
Goodness, there are so many. I think so many organisations are now putting D&I at the top of their agendas because there is definitely, absolutely a tangible link between D&I and business success. And as I've already mentioned, it shouldn't be or a nice to have any longer. Organisations are understanding that the focus in this area is the right thing to do. It's something that we have to do. And just to bring in an example here, one of our networks, one of our Be Yourself networks under our umbrella is Be Well, our Be Well network. So that's our network that focuses on well-being of our ambassadors. And, we recognise that well-being has many different strands, but we constantly are looking at ways we can deliver content and initiatives that promote well-being holistically. So looking at that whole person, what do they need at work, but actually what do they need outside of work so they can continue to bring their best selves, feel comfortable, and ultimately, therefore, that's going to link to retention, improved mental fitness, and less absenteeism. And right there, that's, again, a tangible benefit to D&I, and that's just one kind of area that organisations can look into. Yeah,
it's definitely something not to be kind of, cast to the side as a kind of fad or flavour of the week.
Yeah, absolutely not. And again, there's so much research out there, and I just wanted to kind of make a note just to kind of add, I guess, that feedback that supports what we're talking about. So there was a study from McKinsey and Company, yes, back in 2018, but still incredibly relevant, which showed that gender diversity was even more relevant in company performance. And they said with gender diverse companies performing, I think 20-something% better than national average. So again, that really does defines how important it is. And also, I think they were talking about ethnically and racially diverse companies. And again, 43% or something like that, their performance or outperforming national average. So again, that just demonstrates how important it is.
Yeah, fantastic. Excellent. No, those are really powerful statistics.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about some of the things that Rapport you have done or you are doing that have been really successful?
Yeah, and again, I think a big focus on our networks, which I've already kind of touched on. So our Be Yourself at Rapport network. So we're doing so many amazing things at the moment, and they're really led by our teams. They're not led by head office. They're not led by leadership. They are really engaging with our front lines across the business, whether that's within the UK or outside in the regional hubs. And we've also started to link in with some of our teams more globally as well with some of our initiatives that we've got coming up. So these are the things that they really care about. We've got Pride at Rapport, focusing on our LGBTQ plus and allies community. Embrace, that I've already mentioned, our race and ethnicity network. And we've got our newest network, Be the Change, which focuses on the environment and sustainability and doing some good. And it's just really refreshing to work with our ambassadors on the things that they really care about, because they are really looking for ways that they can do good in the community around them, and they know the importance of this, and it means so much to them. So I think that's really been so successful. Our networks have been incredibly successful. So that's definitely something that I would shout about.
Oh yeah, I love that you mentioned that they're team-led as well, because it's so important that you've got people, the success of any organisation or any business, ultimately it's the people that make it. And if they can really have some ownership and responsibility in part of this, I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, we're not here to dictate, from naming the network, from the mission statement, the vision, the objectives, everything is created within that committee. So, you know, we're starting it from scratch. We're calling upon our team members that are passionate in those areas, that want to know more and genuinely commit to these things, because we know it's extra. And of course, we're going to have some fun along the way, but we also know the importance, and they understand the importance of these networks. So yeah, they've been great.
Great. So the World Health Organization estimates that people with a disability make up around 10% of the world population, so about 650 million people. I know that you at Rapport have been doing things to raise awareness specifically around physical or sensory or educational disabilities. Could you share a little bit more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have partnered, or we are still partnering with RNID, so the Royal National Institute for Deaf People. So that's basically our nominated charity at Rapport. They provided us with a lot of support, so sign language training for our teams, and also supported our teams and within our client sites with their induction loops at the desk. So making sure everything works, they understand how to use them, so they can support the clients and guests coming to their offices. We've also continued to mark Deaf Awareness Week, which happens every year in May. And again, we continue that partnership with RNID. And one of the new initiatives that we had earlier this year in February, we raised money for Sign Health by taking part in their Sign to Sing initiative. So Rapport actually has a choir. So this was led by Rapport Choir, and we learnt one of their songs called Together, where we sang. So we recorded our voices, but we also signed. And we were able to raise just under £500 for that charity. And I guess another big part of the area there is we're working with Wesley School with their supported internship program. So currently we have one of their interns working for one of our client sites. So again, you know, we're looking at carving out a role, making sure they're of course supported, working with their job coaches, and we intend to provide more opportunities for their interns with special educational needs in the future as well. It's a fantastic program.
Wow, you're really active in this. You're just championing. You're really a shining example of so many activities. It's great to hear. As part of National Inclusion Week, you've probably got even more activities planned.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Can you share a little bit of what the teams at Rapport have to look forward to?
Sure. And goodness, I can't believe it's next week. Where does time go? Yeah, absolutely, Bianca. We have a full schedule. So we've something going on for each day of the week. As you probably know already, there's a theme for each day, which really helps to guide us, our teams, why are we doing this? Because it's great to have lots of initiatives and events, but actually, why are we doing this? What's the impact? What's the results? And how are we going to really take this forward? But yeah, so on Tuesday, it's Unite for Anti-Racism. So I'm actually going to be running our Understanding Race and Ethnicity workshop for our teams. We've also partnered up with, so excited for this, MyG Work, so one of our partners in the LGBTQ plus space. So one of their consultants is running a workshop around power and privilege, and basically giving us some tips on how we can become better allies and hopefully commit to some actions moving forward. Of course, no week, no initiative would be good enough without a competition. So we're asking our teams to tell us how they make their teams, new team members feel included. And again, there's a prize for the lucky winner there. And finally, there's loads more, but we're also encouraging our teams to host their own inclusivities. So essentially what they are is, you could call them kind of listening groups, but this year, because of the pandemic, things have just opened up. We just want to encourage our teams to come together, whether that's over a cup of tea, coffee, beverage of choice, and just have a chat. You know, it can be, topics around D&I, but actually it's about connecting. It's about saying, wow, I'm not in front of a computer screen anymore. Yay, let's see if we can do something in person. So we've got a little handy guide to support our teams to do that, get the most out of it, hopefully, and just encourage them on that Friday to get together. And then I guess one more plug from me, we also have our Rapport choir. So they've we're currently putting together a special film entitled We Are Beautiful. So we're singing Christina Aguilera's song Beautiful, and we're putting together a really nice film. And actually some of our US team members have also been able to come in on that for the first time, which is amazing. So really excited to share that as well.
Oh, that's great. It's really nice that you've thought about having quite a nice balance of more kind of formal, organised type things, but then also relaxed, informal, so people can really have those moments to, as you say, like really make a deeper connection and kind of, you know, break the ice a little bit, but then have a little bit of informal chat as well. No, that's great. That's very, very exciting.
You can come, Bianca, to anything. I'll send you the invite.
All right, well then, and my last question was just for people who are thinking about what they can do to further the conversation at their workplace, consider how they can make their workplaces more inclusive. What's one piece of advice that you'd give them?
Goodness, I could probably do a whole conversation just around that alone. I mean, don't approach it from a tick box exercise point of view. It's very obvious when organisations are doing that. It'll be very surface level things. It'll be, you know, a couple of, webinars here and there, but actually they don't have that deeper dive. They don't have that strategy that underpins. They don't have maybe the KPIs. They don't have, the data that they're actually looking at and evaluating. So I guess a big piece of advice is spend some time really mapping out what do you want to get from your D&I agenda or your strategy, and trying to weave it in with everything that you do. It shouldn't be siloed. D&I shouldn't be separated. It should be in everything that you do. And I think that's when you're doing things well, and that's when you're making lasting change. And also there's no one size fits all approach. There are many businesses and organisations, you can imagine I do a lot of research, doing great things out there. And they are in the D&I space. But I think it's important to really connect in with your values and the culture of your business, and what your teams will get on board with, enjoy, resonate with, to make the right decisions, to inform the right actions that you will take. And I guess the last thing I would say is about embedding. So as I've already mentioned, it's not a separate entity. It should continue to be a focus, continue to champion it, speak up, and hopefully make that lasting change.
Oh, that's some cracking advice, Emily. Thank you for taking the time to have a conversation with us today. Thank you for sharing everything that you're doing at Rapport. I wish you and your teams the best for National Inclusion Week. I'm sure it'll be a really, really amazing week at Rapport. If you would like to learn anything more about creating an inclusive and diverse workplace, please have a look at our insights and resources area on our website, thewowawards.co.uk, and also have a look at the career space on the Rapport website if you're looking to join a diverse and inclusive team. It certainly sounds exciting and something that everyone should be a part of. Thank you very much, Emily. Speak to you soon.
Thank you so much, Bianca.